afternoon, welcome back all, and welcome to Tenerife. It feels so nice to be back in warmth. 25, 26 degrees all the time, blue sky. I've managed to get out on a motorbike already, and tomorrow I'm out on another bike, so everything is glorious. I'm delighted to say our Libertatia tool rolls, they're now in another shop in the UK, the Veloce Club up in Hertfordshire. So you can go and check these out, actually see them in the flesh if you're interested. We've also got for our EU customers the tool rolls for sale in Moto in Belgium. So for any EU customers, you won't have any of the duties, any fees to pay because everything gets shipped from Belgium to EU countries. So you're covered in that respect, but everything is made in Ipswich, England, from British oilskin. And there it is with the tools I brought over to Tenerife and army surplus strap to attach to your bike. So I'm delighted that we're getting into a few more shops so people can see them in person, as well as, of course, our Libertatia stickers if you're interested. These are the two we've got available at the moment. Let's begin. In fact, before I begin, thank you so much, as ever, everyone, for getting in touch, sharing your thoughts and opinions. Best place to do so, comment section below. And if you've got a longer story, maybe with some pictures, you can email hi@tuesdayatdobbs.com. Let me start this week trying to ride as a 20-year-old. This has just come up so much. It is so difficult now for young riders to get into biking, a mixture of the ridiculously convoluted tests that cost a huge amount, are so complicated. Some people, almost myself included, just think, you know what, I can't even figure out this test system, I'll just forget about it. And then when you pass your test, it's almost impossible to insure a motorbike. Listen to this. This is from Duncan up in Scotland. Freddie, insurance is an issue that plagues me and is, at this point, the bane of my existence. I'm a 20-year-old male living in a suburban area of Glasgow, Scotland, and have been riding now for about 2 years. My main bike of choice is my trusty Honda CB500X. That's a 2023 model, and it's practically unmodified with the exception of a top box and crash bars. It's kept in a brick-built garage beside the house, and it's locked. The insurance for this bike is approximately £2,500 a year. I mean, just imagine that. You're a 20-year-old, you're at university, you're starting out as an apprentice, and somehow you've got to find £200 a month insurance. Carrying on with Duncan, bearing in mind that the bike's only worth about £5,000, so this is a significant outlay to make each year. Furthermore to this, I was unable to secure coverage for things such as pillion cover and other things that I will willfully neglect to mention, as there was no underwriter willing to take the risk on those elements. I was interested in purchasing a Ducati Multistrada V2 as my next bike. However, I found out when putting it in for prospective insurance quotes, there was only one company that would cover me, and the cost of cover just over £34,000. When I'm not at university, I work in the industry. I guess you mean motorcycle industry. Fascinating. And constantly hear of people facing similar issues and difficulties to me. When you consider the cost of doing all the various tests, the purchase of a motorcycle itself, and then the relevant running costs, including insurance, it's prohibitively expensive for younger people to get into our wonderful hobby, and increasingly costly for those who are already motorcyclists purely to keep going. I'm sure you hear this rant fairly frequently. Duncan, I do. A lot of people say this, but I hope that bringing even a modicum of attention to it may help to change the tides on this topic. Frankly, it's getting to a point where it's no longer sustainable for all but the most wealthy of individuals. P.S. Image attached from this year's Germany trip, fully loaded, heading for the ferry. Duncan, I have taken the liberty of seeing if I can help you, because there is not much I like more. This sounds very boring and pathetic, but I love looking at insurance quotes for bikes. Let me see what I can find you. What I've done is a couple of different things. I have disguised myself as a 21-year-old, who's been riding for 2 years, full motorcycle test, but no claims bonus. and I've put myself in a couple of different locations to give you an idea. So bear that in mind. That's me, 21-year-old, 2 years riding, no claims bonus. I'm going to start off in the Suffolk countryside, insuring myself on a £600 Honda Deauville. That's the 650cc bike. The cheapest quote I could get, bearing in mind this is in the Suffolk countryside, the least possible crime that you can imagine, cheapest quote, £2,068. I'll be completely honest, I was shocked at how much that was. Then I thought, fine, get ready everyone to see what the exact same quote would be, but all I'm doing is I'm switching the location from Suffolk countryside to London. So instead of the price being £2,068, I'm going to put these side by side. Look at what the London price is. £1,710. That is, I'm just double checking that. That is £300 cheaper. I'm not joking. That's £300 cheaper if I put living in my area of London, which is rampant with motorbike crime. I actually save £300. So that makes literally no sense at all. What about if I insure a Triumph Bonneville with a value of £2,200 in London as a 21-year-old? Well, that's £1,600. These are not the outcomes that I thought. I'll do two more here. Let's say I'm a 21-year-old and I'm riding in London and I've just bought myself a 125cc Honda. I think it's the CB125 with a value of £1,025. In fact, £1,250, sorry. So the smallest, cheapest bike possible, £1,250, Honda 125cc bike. The price of this, what would it be? Seven-year-old Honda to insure is £1,764. So it's more expensive to insure a 125cc Honda than it is to insure a Triumph Bonneville. Some of these I just don't get. And a final one in London, Royal Enfield Meteor 350, 1,573. There you go. Duncan, you know what? Honestly, I wanted to help you. I wanted to say, leave it to me. I found what you can do. Buy this bike, and this goes for all younger riders, and you're sorted. But the truth is, there's no escaping it. It breaks my heart to say that if you're a young rider, you just have to get past the point of being young. It's heartbreaking. It's so frustrating. But that 125cc quote, the fact you have to pay more to insure a 125cc bike, fascinating and mind-blowing. Moving on to Australia. Freddie, and this is pictures included, soak these in. Freddie, I'm getting back from a trip today on my Moto Guzzi V85 TT. My bike has 26,000 kilometers on now, and there have been no issues apart from a minor one when new. My trip was around 40% off-roading and a bit out of the V85 TT's comfort zone. But I covered mountain passes, dry roads, gorgeous, twisty roads, and some small sections of highway. Camped and stayed in pubs and friends' places. Paul, whenever I look at pics, I mean, these are stunning. Australia for road trips is equal parts sensational and petrifyingly scary because of the huge size of it and the unlimited ways in which you can die, whether animals or scenery. Take a look at this. Before proceeding, please read the following advisory information. Four-wheel drive only, steep edges, steep inclines, falling rocks, creek crossings, floodways, flash flooding, narrow winding roads, and slippery when wet. When they don't mess about, they tell you all of the dangers in plain English. Paul, that looks absolutely stunning. And owners, I know I often besmirch the name of Moto Guzzi. Owners love the V85 TTs. They say it's a well-built, rugged, reliable bike. I have very, very close to unanimously good feedback on the V85 TTs. That's a really good bike, according to all of you. On now to Etienne in France. Freddie, a few weeks ago I asked about the state of the used market prices and the best beginner retro looking bike. Now, after a few months, the hunt is finally over, and I think it's a great example of why the used motorcycle market is struggling. I went to the Kawasaki dealer where I live and was surprised when I saw that they were offering, listen to this, huge discounts for beginners first purchased motorcycles. I guess that all of the dealers do these kind of deals. Etienne, No, I promise you, in the UK certainly, unless someone tells me I'm wrong, they don't do these kind of deals for new riders to entice new riders into biking. Please tell me if I'm wrong and I'll share it, but this looks extremely generous from France. Continuing, plus they offered me, on top of that, they offered me even more discount as they now needed to make room for the 2025 model motorcycles. So after a test ride and a bit of negotiation, I'm now waiting for the delivery of my brand new 2024 Kawasaki Z650RS, the exact one pictured, and for only £56 a month on a 2.5-year loan. And for that, I've got a brand new bike, worry-free with 5 years warranty. I mean, you can have a brand new bike with full warranty for the price of a streaming service subscription. And I understand why the used market is in such a bad state, especially when I see sellers putting used bike prices without full history for only £1,500 less than a new motorcycle. Anyway, I'm already planning my first trip to the south of France with my little brother for next year. Etienne, this story and Duncan's story from up in Scotland have very well summarised the issues and the success stories of being able to get new bikers into riding. Insurance price is prohibitive, yes, but on a positive note, look at this, incentives to get new riders into biking, and it works. It gets to a point it's a no-brainer, £56 a month. Great choice, Etienne. A lot of people get in touch with me to say the bike that enticed them into biking is the Z650 RS. Now on to Emlyn. Emlyn, you know, I haven't heard that name since an old classmate of mine from back in school when I was about 15 years old was called Emlyn, and it is the only time I've ever heard the name Emlyn. Great to hear from you. Biking doesn't have to be expensive. Take a look at the pic as I read this out. Freddie, it's been really interesting listening to you speaking about bargain bikes and depreciation on bikes, albeit slightly depressingly. However, I'd just like to highlight that there are silver linings to clouds. I've attached a picture of my 2005 Triumph Tiger 955, bought for, wait for it, €1,500. It came with full side panniers and top box, fully serviced, running like a clock. Biking doesn't have to break the bank, and riding bikes without all of the fancy gizmos brings a smile on my face every time I turn the key. I mean, I'm glad you brought this up. I can't remember if I've ever done this bike as a bike of the week, but if I haven't, I should have done, because these are meant to be very tough, reliable bikes with a good engine. 104 horsepower, made from 2001 to 2006. These, if I'm not very much mistaken from my research, these were some of the last Hinckley, i.e. British-built Triumphs. So Triumph opened or reopened up their English operation, their British operation, in 1991 with the opening of the Hinckley factory. That carried on, and in fact is still, I'm sure it's still Hinckley that they've got the head office. Someone tell me if I'm wrong, I'm sure it's Hinckley. But the reality is they don't make many bikes there now. It's a very, very small amount. But that used to be where they made all of their motorcycles. But in 2002, Triumph opened up the Thailand factory, and they've since opened up a couple more. But the 955 Tiger, production started before the first Thai factory was opened. So I believe the entire production run of the 955 Tiger, they are British-built Triumphs. And that's worth something. It's nice to say that you got one of the last of the generation of British-built Triumphs. 104 horsepower, lovely amount, and from a durable engine that was in also the Triumph Speed Triple. But what can you get for around about the same figure? Take a look at this. 2005 Triumph Tiger 955, which even comes with all of the panniers. I mean, they are colour-coded Triumph blue panniers. Listed 5 months ago, reduced from £2,250 to £1,600, and it's got an MOT till May. It's a lovely looking bike, even comes with a top box, and it just doesn't get the usage to worth or to warrant keeping. Genuine reason for sale. That is a lovely looking bike, and if we check out MCN, the description states 4.4 out of 5 for owner's reliability rating. A second generation Triumph Tiger carried on the theme of the original, a big, bruising road trail motorcycle powered by Hinckley's distinctive triple. The difference was, this was the second generation triple with updated chassis and styling to match. Later versions are well equipped, and the Triumph Tiger 955 is a decent road motorcycle for taller riders, but it's also somehow old-fashioned and superseded by the 1050. I think that's a very fair price, getting those for around £1,500. I actually like these. Emlyn, thank you for sending that over. Moving on. Trevor in Azerbaijan. This is such an international episode today. Freddie, I live in Azerbaijan, and I am just about to buy, here's something you may not have heard of, a Minsk D4 125, which is assembled in Belarus and made in China. Wow, okay, assembled in Belarus, made in China, and it's £1,200. All of the food delivery riders use them here, and I often see examples for sale having done well over 100,000 miles. I'm actually excited about getting this one. Oh, let's take a look at this, Trevor. So, this is actually a bit embarrassing. Minsk motorcycles since 1951, so they've been going 73 years. This is pathetic. I didn't know they were Belarusian, but of course with a name like Minsk, the capital of Belarus, that of course makes absolute sense. They just literally called the brand by the capital city. It's like having a motorcycle brand called London. 10 horsepower, 140 kilos wet weight, which is actually quite heavy for 125. But look, this isn't about agility and performance. This is what Minsk actually say about the bike. Minsk D4 125 is a simple, affordable and fuel-efficient motorcycle with a modern, balanced design made for all kinds of road conditions. The design is urban, neat, no frills, but has all of the necessary gauges and controls. The carburetor engine is fuel-saving, easy to service, and reliable in operation. Fuel consumption is low. It's not going to inspire in a way that maybe a Ducati or Harley Davidson does, but Minsk know their target audience. This is for people who need workhorses, bikes to use on a daily basis. They know what they're aiming at, and I have a strange soft spot for utilitarian transport. I like it. And good luck with your new bike, Trevor. If you do get it, send me some pictures of the Minsk in Azerbaijan. I would love to see that in its natural habitat. On to Peter. Freddie, now that the children have left, I thought I'd take up motorcycling again. More as a hobby than the primary mode of transport this time, and I thought that the modern Triumph Thruxton was the way to go. Pictures attached. So with gay abandon and throwing caution to the wind without test riding any bikes, or in fact even seeing the specific bike that I bought, a 2020 Thruxton RS, last week online from a chap in Mayfair, one of the finest areas in London. I arranged a courier collection and delivery, and this is exactly everything that you shouldn't do when buying a second-hand bike. The original supply invoice showed that the chap had paid £17,000 for the bike and seemingly had ticked every single option, including the X-pipe, Vance and Hines slip-ons, dolphin fairing, tail tidy, etc., etc. Blacked out edition. He'd put 64 miles on the bike from new, and it was completely unmarked, and it had an MOT, that's the annual check test that we have here in the UK, and service just one day before I took delivery. It seems that his partner had decided she didn't like him riding it and banned him. I managed to get it for £9,000, and despite having no claims bonuses and not having ridden for 15 years, I got fully comprehensive insurance for £125. You see, to Duncan, to everyone else, all the younger riders, even forget about no claims bonus, all that stuff is all a con. The only thing that matters is really that you're over 25 years old and you've been riding for 1 or 2 years, i.e. you haven't just passed your test. That's all that matters. Anything else is just marketing spiel and a con. That's what it comes down to, and it's a massive shame. Although it's not a shame for Peter, that is incredible. Continuing with Peter, I could not believe my luck, but the original owner has seemingly spent /lost £8,000 for 64 miles of riding in central London. I did more than that in day one. It's a brilliant bike and I'm having the time of my life. It's so much more characterful than the Suzuki GSX-Rs that I used to own, and with so much torque, it's as fast as I would ever want on the road. Peter, you've inspired me for one stunning looking bike. These Thruxtons are timeless classics, and now that Triumph are discontinuing them, these will be looked upon very favourably indeed. They are very special bikes. The source of inspiration, Peter: ridiculously low mileage bikes. It got me thinking, why would someone buy a bike not to use it? Here it's explained from the gentleman you bought it from. But what other interesting finds are there? Take a look at this. I've gone on to Auto Trader and I've typed motorbikes from 1990 to 2014. I've just gone for that gap because I want to find old bikes but still bikes new enough to be usable. And then on top of that date range, I've typed maximum 500 miles in total. So a range of 1990 to 2014 and bikes that have only covered 500 miles or less. I want to see what kind of bikes are available here. Why would someone buy a bike and not use it? Does that mean we're going to find some really niche bikes? And on top of that, does it mean that this is a really interesting alternative to going out and buying a new motorbike? What you're doing is you're buying effectively a brand new motorcycle, but you're maybe getting your dream bike, a bike without all of those electrical interferences, a bit of a time warp machine from a bygone era that will never return again. Yet you're not going to have any rust or any issues from a mechanical point of view. It's an interesting proposition. I'll start with this. Harley Davidson Sportster 2009 model, £5,250. Dry stored for 12 years, and it's done just 380 miles. I actually think that's quite a fair price for that, because you get plenty of Sportsters with 10,000 miles plus for about that price. It's stunning with all that chrome. So there's the first one. Next one, Ducati Street Fighter. I'll do three more. Ducati Street Fighter for £8,000. 44 miles on the clock for a 2013 model. So this is an 11-year-old bike that's covered 44 miles. Well, they say brilliant condition. I hope they mean literally as new condition. Okay, that's good, but the last two I really like. Have a look at this. Can you guess? Honda XL. Honda XL 1000 Varadero. This is the most workhorse kind of a bike that you can imagine. I cannot understand why someone would buy this bike to only keep it in time warp condition. This is not the kind of bike you do it for, so there must be a story behind this that I don't know. It's a 2007 bike, so it's 17 years old. It's priced at £6,000, one owner from new, 375 miles on the clock, and it's quoted as being quite possibly the lowest mileage Varadero available today. Our totally unique example has been cherished by one owner from new, kept in a heated garage as an ornament for the last 14 years. Finished in unmarked silver metallic, supplied with 2 keys, long MOT, fresh service, yada yada yada. Ready to ride and is in as new condition. I mean, I can't argue with that. If you want to do something like that and keep that as an ornament, you don't need to justify being a biking enthusiast and having a motorbike as an ornament. Good on you. That's brilliant. It's just such a strange way to look at bikes and look at what bikes you could buy. Okay, I won't do that Brutale. I will just do one final one. Kawasaki ZRX 1200R. £32,000 for this. The photos are really appallingly bad. There isn't one photo that actually shows the entire bike, which I find mind-blowingly strange. So there are all the photos. They tell you almost nothing because I can't actually see the bike in its entirety. But that is a bike with 13 miles on the clock since 2008. And that is a bike with just 13 miles on the clock since 2008. one owner from new, as new condition, rare opportunity to buy a very hard to find in this state ZRX. Full service history. What does that mean? Does that mean you service it every year? There's another 0 miles on the clock. Let's give it a full fresh service once a year like clockwork. I don't know how that works with full service history when it literally has done no miles at all. But that's some fun viewing. Peter, thank you for the inspiration and a glorious Thruxton. And I move on now, bike of the week. This is just about as rare a bike that I've seen. I mean, they built 6,000 of these bikes. I just want to see if you can guess this. 6,000 of these were built, but I have never, ever seen one in the flesh to the very best of my knowledge. It is a bike with looks so out there. For me, it should be a prototype at a show that was never built. It's that kind of thing. German made, 1000cc, built around 30 years ago. Spaceship style styling. Can you guess it? Take a listen. Paul in Cornwall, bike of the week. Freddie, regarding your comments last week about the affordability of what were dream poster bikes of the day. When modern dream top-end bikes are costing £20,000 upwards now, the fact that you can buy a bike that you used to lust after but could never afford for generally around the £5,000 or less mark is truly a temptation hard to resist. A purchase that I simply could not resist was a 1990 BMW K1. Advertised for £4,000 in immaculate condition, I simply had to add it to my garage. In their day, they were designed to show that BMW could produce exciting modern motorcycles with fuel injection and ABS, rather than their renowned but not considered exciting touring and sports touring machines. However, at launch they were priced at about £13,000, and that is considerably more than the Honda Goldwing at the time, and way more than the latest Japanese sports bikes. Due to the European voluntary power limit at the time of 100 horsepower. Honestly, the things governments do to meddle in the automotive sector, whether it's cars, motorbikes, levies on the amount of petrol-powered things you're allowed to sell. I remember everyone pushing us into buying diesel saying it's the future. It's government meddling. Sorry for that interrupting. Continuing. Due to the European voluntary power limit, at the time of 100 horsepower, they achieved the 150 mile an hour mark through clever aerodynamic bodywork. It was certainly an eye-opening, head-turning bike at the time, but way out of mine and most other people's price bracket. And in the 4 years of production, that's 1989 to 1993, they only sold 6,000 of these bikes worldwide. So they are a very rare beast. For me, it's a great mile-munching beast, an effortless, torquey engine with the wind-cheating bodywork offering good protection, which makes long 500-mile riding days an easy proposition. And whenever you go, or wherever you go, she's sure to turn heads. I've had lots of people asking me if it's a new BMW model, and they're shocked when I tell them it's 30 plus years old. So yes, dream bikes are out there waiting to be snapped up, whatever your tastes are. Paul, Cornwall. Paul, that is one of the most eye-catching out there bikes I think I've ever seen. I love this because it is so crazily different from anything else. If you want, like you said, Paul, a head-turning bike, very, very few are going to turn heads and generate questions and interest like this. It's a bike that I would have just guessed would never, ever have been made. To add to Paul's very kind and detailed overview, have a listen to this Wikipedia insight on the BMW K1. So this is under the marketing section on Wikipedia. By the time the K1 was launched, it was quick but not fast. The result of the addition of the aerodynamic bodywork and general upgrading of the engineering components added to the weight, which as a result came in as heavy for a sports bike, about 234 kilos. Combined with this extended wheelbase which created a 22-foot turning circle. It made the bike an economical and comfortable sports tourer, but the engine was not powerful enough against the weight to make the bike quick accelerating and hence sports competitive. The overall fairing was found in early press road tests to retain excess heat below 50 miles an hour, and in some cases it actually burnt riders. So BMW eventually offered an underfairing heat blanket which reduced this considerably, but it was always a problem. However, as BMW knew weight was a problem, the panels were engineered but thin and subject to cracking. Resultantly, panel fit was poor on early models and, combined with panel cracking, earned the bike the nickname Yogurt Carton in Germany. So here we have a bike that cost a gigantic amount of money, about the same as a Honda Goldwing, yet it had these obvious quality and design issues. So there's no surprise at all that this only sold 6,000 worldwide. It means that they turn into really, really fascinating used propositions years and decades down the line. There's a story behind these bikes, and I really like that about them. I took a look in the UK to see if I could find any of these available for sale, and I only managed to find one, and that is on eBay. By the time that this goes live, you will probably have 1 hour to bid on this if you're keen. Currently it's almost to the minute, 1 day left of bidding, 23 hours, 57 minutes. It's currently got 8 bids, it's been viewed 219 times in 24 hours, and it's going for £1,070 so far. But for such a rare bike, listen to this, BMW K1, classic BMW with panniers. I used this for the past couple of years as my winter bike, and it would suit someone just looking for a reliable ride with 12 months MOT. This is being advertised a bit like just a simple winter hack. Surely this is too special a bike to be considered as a winter hack. This is a piece of history. I was amazed seeing that. I wonder if the owner knows how rare a bike it is. But if you want something left field, take a look. BMW K1. And we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much everyone for watching this week's episode. Have a brilliant week all, and I'll see you all in the next one.